Hello friends, my name is Shashank and welcome back to my channel Corporate Guy. And today in this video, we're going to talk about how to create a dynamic cascading drop-down in Power Apps. So in my previous video, I discussed and explained a very simple process on how to create cascading drop-down values in Power Apps, but with the static values or hard-coded values, which can only be changed if you change the underlying code within the Power Apps. But in this video, I will talk about how to create a dynamic drop-down, which means that in that drop down, you can easily add or remove values which are already existing in the drop down or in the database. So for that, I'm not using any external database which you can use such as SharePoint, Excel or any other database, but I'm using a Power App feature which is called a collection or a temporary database which is within the Power App. So I have used that collection to collect my entries and then use them as the drop down values. So let me just give you one example. First of all, let me just add here apple. So this is a category and this is let's say it's a subcategory fruit. So when I click on the submit record, it will take these values and save it in the database, which is a collection, and also those values will be available on the gallery also to show you that these values has been added here, right? And similarly, those values will also be available in the drop down. Let me select apple and then you can select the underlying subcategory of that, which is a fruit, right? So this is how you can create these kind of cascading dynamic drop down values in Power Apps. And also if you're using a collection and you want to delete something from the existing collection, you can simply click on this delete button. It will remove it from the collection, right? So and now I'm back with these empty drop downs, right? So one more feature which I've added here to avoid people adding the blank values, such as if I just give a space and leave it and go to the next field and I add apple here, and when I hit a submit record, it will give me an error that both category and subcategory values are required, and it will not save those values in the collection, right? So I can't see anything here. So until I add something in both these fields, only then these values will be saved, right? So now you can see this is added in the collection. So now let's understand how to create a similar dynamic drop down cascading values in Power Apps using collection as a database. So this is my screen on which I was working. So I'll just simply duplicate this screen and I'll explain the step-by-step process how to do that. So while it is being duplicating, I'll remove all these existing fields and I'll restart everything from the scratch to give you an idea what kind of functions has been used here. And even if you want to add some more features, you are free to do such, right? So I'll start adding first of all with the two input text fields here, which will be used as the input fields to collect data to save in the database. So this is one, and then I'll just simply copy paste it. That will be my second field, and then I'll add a button here, right? So this is the button to submit the records. So this is my button. Let me just rename it. Save record. All right. So now I'll add two drop downs here. Drop down 1 and drop down 2 for the category and subcategory, right? So this is my drop down 1. Let me resize it, and then I'll copy paste it. It will be my drop down 2 for the subcategory. All right. So now let's start first by changing the names. So text input canvas 1, I'll make it text text category, right? And for the text canvas 1-1, I use it text subcat, right? And for the drop down, I'll use dd cat, and for the subcategory, I'll use dd subcat, right? So it's easy to remember these names. And let's start. So first of all, we'll start with the button, because this is where we have to do a lot of work to write code or a function, right? So let's go to the onSelect property of the button, which you can find on these properties, and we'll start with a very easy function, which is the if. We all are familiar with that, and we'll start with the function which is called is blank, right? If these values are not blank, because we are not saving the blank values. So first feature is to look for if there is any blank values in these fields, right? So if there is no blank value, it will trim those values to avoid any empty spaces, right? So it will trim text cat, right, dot value. So in case you are using the legacy text field, so you can use dot text. If you're using the new feature features, which is the preview features, then you have to use a value function here, right? And then close these parentheses, then and similarly we'll copy paste the same function here. If it is not blank, then it will again ask for trim, but and the trim will be used for the text subcat, right? Dot value, and then we'll close the parentheses here, and then we'll start with the collect function, and this collect function will save these values in the collection, right? So I'm giving it a local database, local DTB, right? And then we'll start with parentheses, which is curly parentheses. So first we'll start with the ID. What is the ID? So ID is a unique value which is being generated automatically when you submit any record in the collection, right? And then category. So how we will collect the category? We'll collect it from the text cat dot value. So category is equal to, then again we'll use the trim feature to avoid any other. It's a second check on the first trim function which we used. So trim trim text cat dot value, and then close the parentheses here, and then again start with the comma, and then we'll use subcategory, right? And again we'll use trim function here, trim, and we'll use text subcat dot value, close the parentheses, right? And this is where we are closing the values which are being saved, right, in the collection. And next we'll start the other function, which is the resetting of these values. So why do we need to reset? Because once you've entered a value, you don't want somebody else to again accidentally save those values within the database. So these text fields will be blank once you have submitted your values, right? So this is where we'll close it, and then we'll start with semicolon the next function, which is the reset function, to reset these both text fields, text category, and then again reset text subcat, right? And I'll explain how these functions are being used here to avoid, to handle the errors, right, for error handling. So notification, so we'll start with the notify first. So notify, what I will notify that we have to fill both of these values. Please fill both category and subcategory, right? And close it with the inverted commas, and then we'll start with the notification type, what kind of notification you want to display for your users. So that is notification type dot error, and then we have to close it with the parentheses, and then final parentheses. That's it. And this is the function we're going to use. Let me just explain again. So the way this function has been used is to avoid resetting these two text fields in case the above conditions are not met. So if we don't use this reset functions within the if function, it will reset the values even if there is an error. So you have to retype everything, right? So to avoid that, we have written that reset function within the if function. So let us test this if it is working fine, right? Apple, and then it is a fruit. So let's hit save. So we guess it is saved. So to make sure that your value is saved, you can do one thing. You can go to this function, which is variables, and go to this local database which we have just created. So we have already two collections. So this is the latest one, and if you go and click right, you can see the table, and you will see that these three values has been created just now. So this is the unique ID which has been created by the Power Apps, which is unique. So you can take this for a reference in case you want to delete something or edit something, right? So this is how you can see that your function is working fine. So now the next step is to link that collection on the drop downs, right? So we'll just simply use distinct function in case you want to display only the distinct values. So distinct local DTB, and that's it. And then the category, local DTB, comma, the category. And this is where you will see that the first dropdown which we created is now visible on the dropdown, right? And now this is empty, so we will just use a filter function to use a cascading function here. So how to use a filter function? Simple. It's very simple. You just have to start with the filter. So what you want to filter? You want to filter your local DTB, which is the local database which we have just created, and then you have to filter it based on the category. So what is the category? Category will be taken. The value of category will be taken from this dropdown. So that is from this dropdown, which is DD cat, right? So DD cat dot value dot selected dot value, and this is where we are going to collect a value from the dropdown, and then it will filter these rows and columns based on the value which we have selected on the first dropdown, and it will display the subcategory on the second dropdown. So let's run this and see if it is working fine. So now we have Apple, and then we have this number. So how to avoid this number? You can just simply select the dropdown, go to the edit, and then go to the add field and select a subcategory here and add. So now you can see the number, so you can see the value, the actual value of the dropdown, right? So Apple, this is the first one. This is the first value which we added. So this is how you can create a dynamic cascading dropdown. And the next feature we are going to add here is a gallery, from where you can remove values from the collection, right? So for that, I just simply move it a little bit up to make some space here for the gallery. So I just simply add a vertical gallery, right? And this is it, and then we'll link it back to our database, right? Let me just add it first here, and then we'll link it with the database. Resize it a bit, and then we will change the template here. I'll go to the layout, and I'll use only title and subtitle, right? And on the title and subtitle, we can also change the fields which we're going to use. So on the title, I'm going to use, we have not linked our database here. So first of all, I'll select the gallery, and I'll go to the items property. I'll mention local DTB here. So now we have linked it with our database. So now we can select what values we're going to display here. So it's already selected category and subcategory. So next thing is we have to change color here so that we can see the values. This is white. Now let's give it a different color. Let's say yellow. So now we have fruit and we have apple. And now next is this arrow. So generally this arrow is used to navigate to a different form or a screen, but we will just simply select this arrow. We'll go to the icons and replace it with a trash icon, right? That's how easy it is. So just go and change the color if you want to change the color of this icon. I'll make it yellow and maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe let's say the size is 50-50. Let's make it 80 and 80. So now we have added a remove button here. So we're going to add a simple function here, which will not only remove these values from the gallery, but also from the database. So we'll start with a very easy function, which is a remove function, which is used to delete values from the gallery. So remove, what we want to remove is local DTB. And how do we remove it? Because there are two ways by which you can remove it. One is simply use a remove function and give a reference on the local database and the selected item, but that will only remove values from the gallery, but not from the collection. So we will use this lookup function to remove it, delete it from the local database, from the collection, local database. And how do we remove it and how do we reference it? We use it ID is equal to this item.id, and we close the parentheses. Right, and now we have this feature here, which is remove local DTB, lookup for the local DTB, and lookup for the ID, right? It is asking this function to look up for this specific ID and then remove it from the database. So let's run this and see. If I click on this, it should remove it from here, and let's see if it is removed from the local database. Yes, now it is removed from the local database as well, right? So this is how you can create this simple function in the Power Apps. And one more thing which you have to do is you have to go to the screen on the app, and you have to make you have to write a function which is on start a function of a Power App, where you will you're going to what you call load your database here. Right? So we'll start with the clear collect function here. So clear collect, right, and then we'll load the database, which is local DTB, and now we have this on start feature ready. So now let's run this application and let me add few features here. Apple is a fruit. Let me save that in the record. Orange is a fruit. Let me add that in a record. Red is a color. Let me add that in a record. So let's see if I select red, will I get a fruit or a color here? So it will only give me a color. So this is how the cascading features work in Power Apps or in the dropdowns, which only shows the values which are relevant to the first dropdown which you have selected. So I hope this will help you to create your own dynamic cascading dropdowns in Power Apps. So if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this channel, and put down your comments and let me know if you want me to come up with any other video, any specific topic which you want me to cover on Power Apps. So until then, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much. The add risks where you create a new record, right? So that is the add risk. And then we have the update risk where you update the existing records, which this screen will be directed from the view risk screen and next to the view risk. And then next we have the risk register, which means all the transactions, all the risks which already have been recorded in the SharePoint, and you don't want to give access of SharePoint to everybody, you can just simply display it on a Power App, and simply you can just show them, and you can also view all the risks in a table form. And even if you want to copy it, you can simply copy and paste it on Excel and for your further evaluation. Then we have locations data. The similar data which I've shown you on SharePoint. This is required in case you want to add a new location, or maybe if you want to edit any existing location, you can just use this screen. And next is the risk categories. This also serves the same purpose, where you can add a new category, new title, new specifications, or in case you want to edit any existing category, or you want to make some changes on the existing data, you can do all of this in this screen. So let's go back to the home screen, and then I'll just take you through what all these things we have done here. So these three tiles are taken from the Power BI, right? So that we'll discuss at the later stage. And this one here is a gallery, a vertical gallery. You can use that as a default gallery, or you can add a blank gallery and then add all these things here. So how I have added this, let me just give you one example. So if you know the basic functionality of the Power App gallery function, only then you will be able to understand this. But if you know that, let me just show you. So once you add a Power App gallery, you have this one tile or template which you can edit, and all the rest of the items will show the similar kind of formatting, right? And the similar kind of data which is linked to that specific function which you have used here, right? So first of all, I've shown you this server room misplacement. So this is coming from this item.title, which means that once you connect your Power App gallery with a database, then you can use this function to use this item.title. You can use anything else, whatever you want to display on the gallery. And then for the name, I have used to show the display name of the person who has assessed it. And then I have shown color coding, right? And for that, I have used the risk level, which will show a low, medium. But I have also used if function or a switch function to show a color coding for different levels of risk. I'll just show you that. So if I go to the font color, so this is the by default. But if I go to let's say the function of fill, which is the fill, yeah. So this function fill here, which will fill the color. So I have used this switch function, which will switch the color of that field, text field, based on the risk level. So what is the risk level here? This is a hard-coded value here, where I've used high, medium, and low. And if this is high, then use this color. If it is medium, use this color. If it is low, then use this color. If it is not, then use the default color, right? So this is the switch function which is giving the color to this color, this what we call risk level, right? And then on the left hand side, I have this, which is the risk score. A similar thing has been done. I've just used shape, what we call, this is a kind of a there is a display option of called badge. Yeah, if you type badge, you will get this, and then you can customize it according to your requirement. You can change the shape, and then once you have this, you can just go to the properties, and then you will see that on the content option, I have used this function, this item.risk.score, which will display the score of that particular item, right? And then similarly, I have taken the status, the similar text field, and then on the text field property, I have used this item.status of value, and on the due date, I have taken the date, and on the right side, I have taken an icon of what we call calendar, so just to display. So this is how this gallery is working, and if you know the basic functions of a gallery, right? And on the top side, I have these four tiles, which are giving me the overall count of risks. But if you see, there is a yellow icon on each of these tiles, which means that I'm getting a delegation warning, which means that if your database in SharePoint contains more than 2,000 records, so that Power Apps will only consider the first 2,000 records, which means that beyond 2,000, your data will be inaccurate. But for this application, I don't need 2,000 rows, so that's why I'm okay to go with this delegation warning. So what I have done here, I have just taken a collection, right? If you know how to create collection, that's a temporary database created within the application. So this option is usually avoided when a database is quite large. But if your database is small, you can just use a collection to simply do these simple calculations here. So if I go to the app, right, and I then go to the onStart property of the app, you will see this collection which I have created here, right? So this is the collection, and if you know the collection function, this is how we use it. I have created a collection risk data, which is taken from the risk register applicator of the SharePoint list, and then based on that, I have created this status column, and under each status column, I have these categories: not started, in progress, completed, and on hold. And then I have a count function. So this is another column count, which will give me the count of those categories which have these categories of status: not started, in progress, completed, on hold. And then once you've done that, it will create a table, right? It's not a single entry, so it is a table here, but you can also reference this table to any of the what you call tiles or gallery, wherever you want to display that table, right? I'll try to put all these functions and formulas in the description box, and if you're interested, you can just use them to create an application for yourself, right? So I'll just show you what I've done here. If I click on this tile here, right, I have taken the button function, so the text function, and then I have simply taken the count of column risk data, right? So this is giving me the total count, right? And then similarly, I have done here, I have just taken count rows function, and within the collection, from that collection, I have used this filter function to filter only the categories which are with the high category, and that will count and show me the result here. And then within the same what you call gallery, the SharePoint data, I have used this by mistake. So I have taken a direct reference from the SharePoint list, right? So this is a SharePoint list, and for that SharePoint list, I am using this function to simply show me the count of rows which are having a category of high, right? And similar for the medium, and similar for the rest are lower. So this is how these are being displayed here, right? And on the top, this one, this is a header, and on the header, I have used these different text fields to display the email ID and the name of the individual who is using that particular application on that particular instance, right? So it's very simple. Just simply add a text field and use this function, a text property, user.fullname, and for the email, use user.email, and for the image, you can simply use what you call the inbuilt logo or a profile picture option on the right hand side of the properties. So you can even turn it off or keep it on. So that's how you can use these three things. And on the left side, I just added text and an image here. That's it. And on the left hand side, this is the container, and within the container, I have added all these buttons which are performing different functions. So if you see, there are multiple containers which I have used to divide this home screen into different sections to easily put all these different components of app so that they look good and well in a symmetry, right? So I have added these different buttons. So each button is contained within a container, right? So that it gives symmetry and equal distance, and they look same, right? So this is a container, and within a container I have a container, and under this container I have all these buttons, right? So this button here, this here, this here. So I have grouped each button, right, with two things, which is icon and a text and a button, right? So I have created this button. So buttons works very simple. If you have a button, you can just simply go to the button and use it on select property, and on the on select property you can just navigate to any of the screens within the Power App. So it's very simple for all the buttons. If you want to navigate between the different screens, just simply use navigate and add the name of that particular screen where you want to go once you click on that button, right? So if I go to the add task list, it will take me to this screen, and similar for all the buttons here, right? And this is about the home screen. I think I've explained. I'll try to add these functions in the description. Let's see how much I can get and copy and paste it on the description, right? So now let's go to the address, the very first screen, right? So this is a very simple one entry form. If you know how to add entry form, there is nothing complicated going on here. So this is one big screen container. I have taken a vertical container, and within that vertical container, I have used two horizontal containers, right? So why I've used that, I'll explain that. So right, so this is a header container, and in this I have added one more container and added this header. You can just simply go to the insert and type header. You will get this header, and then you can just simply put it on the container. And on the right side, I have added a button which will navigate me back to the home screen. So this is about top screen, and then we have your main screen, right? Main container, and within that container, I have this form container, which where I have added one form, right? And on the below of that, I have this another container, which is a button container, where I've added these two buttons, submit and cancel, right? And in this main home screen, I've done a few things to ease out the data entry procedure. I'll show you what I've done here. Assessment title is simple text field, risk title, right? So in the risk title, I've used this function distinct to get the categories from the second SharePoint list, which shows me the risk categories. And from this, I have connected it on the Power App, right? And the next is the risk category. So to get what we call a cascading effect, right, on the Power App, we use this function, right, distinct, and then filter it, right, based on the selection which we have done on the first dropdown, right? So on the first dropdown, if I select any category, whatever the risk type, whatever category is associated with that risk, that will be only displayed on the risk category. Let me give you an demo of that. If I select physical security risks, so all the categories which are associated with this type of risk, they will be displayed here. If I change it to the personal risks, then it will be a different kind of category, and also, right, so this is how this works, right? First, you need to create this kind of function. And another thing, in my SharePoint list, in the risk register, if you see, we have the risk category as a text field. Both the risk type and category are the risk text fields, right? But on the Power App, they are the drop-down. So how do we do that? So for that, I have selected this card, and once I select the card, I can select the existing field, which is the text field on the back side, and then go to the insert and add a drop-down here. You can just simply drag it and then adjust the height and width of that what you call a drop down according to the text field which is on the back side. And then on the drop down which you have added, you have write this function distinct to get the drop down items from the risk type and risk categories list, and to link it back to the text field so that you can submit that data back to the Power App. The very simple function is just simply connect it with the drop down. So how do you do that? If I select this text field, I'll go to the data card value, right? So data card. So this is the drop down, and this is the data card value text field. So you have to assign it with the drop down here, right? So this should be drop down canvas 2.selected.value. Okay, so whatever you select here, that will be automatically be saved on the text field which is on the backside of the drop down, so that you can submit that entry back to the SharePoint, right? And similar thing we have to do with the risk category as well. If I go to this, right? So you can just simply change it to similar value, whatever we've done here, right? So this is how this works. You can just connect it with the drop down and submit it back to the SharePoint list. All right, and then we have this what we call other fields, date, likelihood. Yeah, on the likelihood, if you see, I press and I get all these options here, right? And then on the impact, I get the drop down because my original was also a drop down, right? And then on the risk scoring. So this is where we are getting the calculation, right? So how we are getting the calculation is we are multiplying these both the values, right? So how we are doing it, let me just show you. I have a text field on somewhere which is taking that value as numeric value and then multiplying it with each other, and we get a what we call multiplication score here. So that is the text canvas, which is where I'm getting that value, right? So similarly, I have used the switch function here. So switch function is giving me the numeric value if we select any of these values here. If it is negligible 1, 2, 3, 4 accordingly, we have done that, right? And similarly, I've done that for the likelihood. There is a text field here which is giving me the similar kind of value, right? And then I'm because on these two text fields, I'm getting a numeric value, so you can just simply multiply them and use a value function to convert a text into a numeric value, right? So this is how you calculate a risk score. And once you have done, once you get the risk scoring, you can get a risk level here, and we have used a similar thing here, a hard-coded value. If it is less than 4, we have used low. If it is less than 9, then medium. If it is greater than 25, then it's high. So that's how we are getting the risk level here using the switch function. And then similarly, it's assessed by using a people function here, which can you can just simply type in the email ID and you will get the details. And it's assigned to due date and office name. Similar thing we've done here for the office name as well. Use the same feature which you've done for the risk type and category. Add a drop down and then link it back to the differentiate point list. You link it with the text field, and then it will be saved at the backend. Use this filter function here to filter the values which are associated with the original office name, and then you can get auto-populated list of items in here. So here we have all the other text fields, actions required, additional controls needed, and everything. So that is about the add risk screen, right? Next we have the buttons. On the submit button, they're very simple. Just submit the form and reset the form once it's submitted, and cancel it. It's simply a reset form. If you want to cancel the entries, you can simply use the cancel button. So this is about the add risks. In case you have any doubts, question, you can simply ask in the comment section. Next we have the update risks. So update risks is similar to the add risk, but it's linked with the view risks. First we'll see what is the view risk here. So view risk is a gallery here, right? So the gallery which I have used is the inbuilt template within the Power App. So you can use that simple template. Once you go to the preview, you get new screen. On the new screen, you will get this option of welcome screen. So you can use this welcome screen option, and it will look like this. You can just customize the functions here. If you see in the original, we have images and other fields. You can simply select everything which you don't want and delete it. And similarly, which I have shown you in the home screen, I have selected the text fields, added a few text fields, and then linked them back to the my SharePoint list, which is the risk register list, right? And then you can show all these things here. Similar thing I've done here to show the risk value, which will be, and then I have used the fill option here to display a different color, right? Similarly, what I've done on the home screen to show the color coding, right? You can use any function, any color here, whatever you feel will look good. That's it, right? On the maybe fill or other option is there. Let me find that option where I've used that function. All right, appearance. Yeah, so on the base palette color, I have used again the switch function, right? Either you can use a function like this, color.green, color.blue, or you can use RGB function, similarly, which I've shown in the home screen, right? So that's it. So similarly, you can do for all these things. And on the view risks, you have to navigate it to the update risks, right? So update risk is the screen, right? This one, the more you click on view risk, it will take you to the update risk screen. And on the update risk screen, we have added a simple form, right? And if you know the basics, this is a simple form here, and it is connected with the same SharePoint list, but the items property of it is set to the gallery one.selected, which means that whatever item you select on this gallery, the values of that particular entry will be displayed on the update risks, right? So this is how it works when you link a gallery with the form, right? So data source should be the same data, and items property should be the gallery one.selected. If your gallery name is different, that you can use accordingly. So gallery one.selected is the gallery name for me. So this is where the update work, but on the update there is a function simply submit form, reset form, that's it. And by default, I have kept this form uneditable, right? Because in case you accidentally change something and by simply save it, so it will not be changed here until you click on the edit function. Then only these fields will be made editable, and you can save and edit these fields, right? And then you can simply cancel and go back to the gallery screen, right? And then simply come back and make the changes, submit it back. That's how it will work. Okay, so this is how this is working, and let me show you how this edit function works. It's very simple. I'll show you that. So if I select my form, right, and I go to the default mode, I have made it a form mode .view, right? Which means that by default it's a view form, you can't edit it. And the moment I click on the edit, it will turn the form mode into edit form mode. So that is the form one is the form name of this. It will convert it into an editable form, and that's it. And when I go back to the back, it will take me to navigate. If I click on cancel, it will reset form to form one, and that's how it works. So reset form means it will take you to the original values from where you started. It will not just delete everything, but it will take you back to the original entries which we received. So this is how these things are working, these three screens. And next we have the risk register. So risk register is nothing, it's just a table where I have linked it with the list. Items is the risk register development, and that's simply a table. If you go to the insert, you type table. You can simply take this table preview and link it. The items property should be your database, and you can go to the properties of it, and you can select what are the fields you want to display here. You want to delete, remove everything, simply just select and remove it. Move something around, you can do that as well. Add new fields, and you can just do that. So this is how this table works. And the next is locations data. Similar thing is happening here. One is a form, right, where you can make a new entry, and then if you want to edit any existing entry, you can use this one and go to edit and just simply edit the value and save it back. So for that, you don't have to do anything. Just simply use the pre-built template, which is this one table and a form, this one, and you will have all these functionalities pre-defined for you. You just have to link your data back to your database, right? So if you see on the table, I have linked it to the office locations, and on the form, right, I have linked it to the office location, and the items property is current item, whatever I have selected, it will display here, right? And also we have this button here, new button. How it works is you don't have to worry much. The moment I click on new, it will create a new form. Let me show you. And now the form mode is this: if new mode, form mode or new; if edit mode, form mode or edit. And these are all the functions which are pre-defined by Power Apps. So you don't have to do anything on that. Just simply link your data base with the form and the table, and that will work. Submit form, customize it according to the form name. Cancel buttons, customize it, whatever you want to do that. It will automatically. You just have to change the name of the form. If you change the name of the form, if it is the default, then it's fine. If it is table different name, if the table is different name, you can just simply change the table name here, and that's it. Your function is ready to work, right? And if I run it again and cancel it, if I click on the edit button, and then the function on edit is different. If it is edit mode, make it true, and then table 2.select. So that's a different explanation. It will take more time. We'll discuss it on some day later. Right? So just to understand, just simply use the pre-built templates, and that will work. So I've done the same thing for the risk register, the location data, and for the risk categories, both of the same templates, just different database. That's it, and it will work fine for you. So this is about how I have used the different functions and used them all together to create this application. Right? And the last thing which is left is this Power App, right, or the dashboards. First of all, you have to open your Power BI desktop and then link your database with your Power BI. If you know how Power BI works, simply just connect your database from with the SharePoint, right? You can use the online services option and then connect it with the SharePoint. And once you connect it, you can create a simple dashboard, simple these kind of tiles, and then publish it to your workspace, right? And then it will be available on Power BI online services, something like this. You can just customize it if you want, right? So I have this. Once you publish it, you will have all the tiles which you have created in Power BI desktop available on Power BI online, and then go to the edit, right? And select all these tiles individually, right? And then there will be an option to save it as a tile, right? So then you can save it as a tile and then, pin it for a tile. The option here is this one, pin visual, right? So once you, just a minute, once you pin, it will ask you where do you want to pin that, right? So you have to create a new dashboard. So I have given it the name Power App tile, right? So if you don't have an existing dashboard, then you have to create a new dashboard. If you have an existing, you can use the Power App, whatever the existing dashboard is. So this is a different dashboard, right? So these are two different dashboards. So let me just show you. This is the dashboard which is published from the Power BI desktop. And this is a, I'm sorry, just a minute. Let me go back. My workspace. Yeah, here you will see there are two dashboards. So this one is Power App tile, which I was talking about. Right. So if I go to my main dashboard and I pin any of these visuals, and if I create a new dashboard, give it a name, whatever you want, save it, it will create a new dashboard, right, on your what do you call this workspace, and then that tile dashboard which you have just created can be linked back to your dashboard, right? Just a minute. Yeah. So this is here, this test dashboard here. So this is a tile which we have created, right? So this is, once it is created, here you can go back to the Power App and then go to the insert. Let me just delete that, this dashboard, and I'll select this. I'll go to the insert, add Power BI tile. It will ask you for the available tiles on your workspace. Select my workspace. If it is not, just refresh it. And let me, if you see this tile here, which I had created earlier, Power App title, so Power App tile, right? So this is now available here. So I can just simply select and use which visual I want to use. So that was risk type, and it will show a visual here, which we had created on Power BI, right? So you can see, right? So this is how you can connect your Power BI dashboard with your Power Apps. I hope I was clear enough to explain. I'm not sure how much I was able to explain, but I hope this will help you to create a Power App similar to this. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, doubts, or suggestions to make this app better, just comment and we'll discuss that, right? So thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Hello friends, my name is Shashank and welcome back to my channel Corporate Guy. And in this video, we're going to learn how to add filter controls in Power Apps to figure out your gallery items. So we have here two drop downs which you can use to figure out the gallery items, and we have a reset button which will reset both of these drop downs, and you can then see all of the items in the gallery control. So first of all, let's see if I select office location here, it will just figure out the gallery item specific to that office location. And if I then again drill down to second drop down and select low, it will then filter it out to the further second level of filtration. And that's how you can just keep on filtering if you add multiple filters in that Power App. And if you want to just go back to the original state of the gallery, you can just simply reset all of these drop down controls, and it will then show all of the gallery items in your Power App. So let's start this video and learn how to add these drop downs to figure out the gallery control in Power Apps. So let's start the video and understand how to add a gallery control and filter it with one or many drop-down items. So let's start. And first of all, we have this Power App screen open with us, and we'll go to the new screen and we'll add any of the available templates with us, and we'll add let's say this template here. And once we have this template, we'll just start adding different fields, different kind of elements such as gallery and drop-downs and headers to make it look like a proper screen. So first of all, I just start with the first top container, and I'll add a header here. So I'll just go to the insert and I'll type in the header. So header is available only with the modern controls. So if you have activated those controls, then only you can add this header control at the top, and you can add a screen name, logo, and the username and the user profile picture as well. And in the middle section, we're going to add what we call a gallery control, and in the gallery control, we'll also add one what we call a section to have the drop-downs, which will be able to figure out the gallery as per our requirements. So for that, I'll add another container within this container to make it usable for us. So I just select the container and I'll go and add a container here. So this will add one container within that container, right? And again, I'll select the main container and I'll add one more container here, and then you will see it automatically adjust the heights, but I don't need auto height. I'll just reduce the height of the top header to let's say 80, and that's it. And for the below header, below container, we'll use it for to add a gallery control. So first of all, I'll just go into this middle section and I'll go to the plus icon and I'll add a vertical gallery here, right? So this is the vertical gallery which will automatically be added within the dimensions of this container, and once it is added, we'll have the option to connect it with the data source. Right now, we don't have any data source with us, so I'll just go to the connectors and I'll search for SharePoint, and from SharePoint, I'll select my SharePoint site, and on that, I'll select the specific SharePoint site, and I'll select any of the list which you want to connect with your Power App. So I just select the risk registered demo and I'll connect it, and once it is connected, you will see it will start displaying all those items here, right? So now you see we have all the items available here, but we don't have an image in any of these items, so I will remove the template structure here. I'll just go into layout and I'll change let's say title, subtitle, and a body. So I'll select that, and then we'll have the option to change what all items you want to display on the title, and the body, or in the subtitle. So for that, I'll go to the field section, I'll select, and I'll first I'll go to title, that will be the main title, and in the body, I'll just change it to let's say risk specification, and on the subtitle, I'll add let's say the risk level. So select the gallery, and I'll go to the wrap count and I'll make it 3. This way you will have more gallery items available within your container. So now you can see we have 3 columns of different gallery items, so all the data is available here. But now it is showing all of the gallery items. But what if you only want to display only specific items from the SharePoint list, or if you're just looking for something specific? So here we have the option to add a filter, right? So we can use drop downs, we can use radio buttons, we can use checkbox, we can use combo box to figure out, even we can use a text box to type in the search items and then figure out the gallery as per our requirements. So for the demonstration, I use 2 drop downs to figure out the gallery items here. So let's start. First of all, I'll add a drop down. I'll just select the container and I'll go to the insert item, and simply type drop down preview and just add that drop down in the top container, right? So here is my first drop down. You can reduce the size as per your requirement. You can add some what we call a text label on top of the drop down to display what kind of drop downs are available here. So this is my first drop down, and I'll just first of all I go to the items and I'll select what items I'm going to display here. So for that, I'll just connect connect it with my data source, right, which is the risk register developer site. So I just select it. I just go distinct, and this is the option I'm going to choose here, distinct, and then I select the source, which is the risk register DevOps, and then it will ask me to select the column or which column you want to put that distinct function. So I just select, let's say I want to display office name here, and after that I'll close it, right. So now we have this drop down. Let's play the application and see whether we can see those drop down items or not. Now you can see that we have these drop down items available, and we can use these drop down items to figure out the gallery as per our requirements. Right now, if I select any of the item, this will not make any changes in the gallery, right. So let's go back and add one more drop down here. I'll just simply copy and paste the same drop down, and I'll then change the items in the drop down, right. So let's just delete the column and add another column here, right. So let's see what column you want to add here. I'll just add here the risk level. On risk level, I want to filter out my data. So let's go down and select the risk level. So this is my another drop down item. Let's preview the application and see. We have low, medium, high, right? So these are the two drop downs on which using these two drop downs we're going to filter out the gallery here. So I just select the gallery here, and the items you will see by default we have this source name, right? So we'll delete it and we'll add a new function here. And this function will help us to filter out the gallery. And if no items are selected in the drop downs, it will display all of the items in the SharePoint list, right? So that is another function we're going to add here. So first of all, we'll start it with the filter, right? So let's type filter, and then we'll add a source, which is our risk register dev, and then we'll start with a function which is called is blank, right? Which means that if this drop down is blank, then it's going to show all of the items from our SharePoint list. So we have two drop downs, drop down canvas 1 and drop down canvas 1-1, right? So we'll select both of these drop downs. So drop down canvas 1 dot selected dot value, right? And then we'll close the parentheses. We'll add an option which is called or, which means that it will work either on this condition or in the second condition which we're going to add right now. So right now we're going to filter it on the office name, right? So we'll start with the office name is equal to the drop down canvas 1 dot selected dot value, selected dot value. Right. So this is the filter option we're going to use here. So let's see. Now it is showing me the required items based on the selection which we have made in the drop down. So if I just change it to secure link, it will change items to specific office location and so on. You can just simply change. Right. So now the option of not selecting any items, we have not activated that on my drop down, but we'll add a reset button here, which will reset the values of this drop down to no select any value, and then we'll be able to see all of the SharePoint list items. So for that I'll add icon here which is reset, right? So and we'll use that to reset both of these drop downs, and that will help us to display all of the values which we are going to which we have in the SharePoint list. So first of all, I'll just add reset, and the control name is drop down canvas 1. That's it. And if we preview the application and click on the reset, it will reset this dropdown, and you can see all of the dropdown or SharePoint items in the gallery control, right? So this was an example of how to add one dropdown, but if you want to add two dropdowns, so the procedure is same. You just have to repeat what we have done already for one dropdown. We'll just copy paste the same in for the another one as well. So I just simply copy this from here, right? And we'll start with the comma here, and then we'll just paste it, and we just have to change the dropdown canvas 1-1, right? So that is the dropdown we're going to use here. Again, for this we have a risk level, right? So we'll just change that risk level, right? And here I'm going to use dropdown canvas 1-1 dot selected dot value, and that's it. So now we have two drop downs which are going to filter the gallery independently, which means that it will not ask for a first drop down to be selected. It can work independently, or it can also work in a combination, right? So let's select low. Now you see that it will show only the items which are in the low risk level, and if I select cyber edge, if there is any item, it will display. If there is no item, it will show no items, right? Let's change to Zenith Hub, so there are no items, so gallery control will show no items. So let's reset the drop down. So now it has reset only one drop down, which is this one, but we have to add this drop down as well to reset it. So let's go back to the reset icon, and we'll add just another reset function here. So the problem with the reset function is if you have multiple controls, you have to write the reset function multiple times to reset those specific functions or the items, right? So now it is also reset. So let's see, you can see all of the gallery items now. So if I just simply change into specific drop down items, you will be able to see those specific items, right? So there is no item, you will see no items, right? So this is how you can add these drop downs and filter your gallery as per your requirement. You can add a reset button as well to reset your controls and drop downs, or you can say, let's say you can add a checkbox or a radio button to filter out your gallery. So instead of having a drop down for the risk level, you can add a radio button here and filter out the gallery as per your requirement. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to learn more about Power Apps, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and comment whatever you want to learn in the next video, and I'll make a video on that specific topic. So thank you so much. Hello friends, my name is Shashank and welcome back to my channel Corporate Guy, and during this video we will learn how to create cascading dropdown in Power App. I have these four different sets of values here. One is country, and then we have continent. So we will see if I just select in USA, it should give me the output specific to that country. So that is one example. We will learn how to do that. And if I use select country as USA and I want to select a specific city from that country, and the second dropdown should give me the specific cities from that country only. So let's say New York, right? And I'll also get the output in the text field here. And if I change the India, it should give me the specific country city names from that country only. And if I go to UK, it should give me the specific names of those cities belong to that country. So let's start this video and understand how to use that using simple Power App functions. So let's start and understand how to create a cascading dropdown in Power Apps, just like I've shown you in the example. So we have here two dropdowns and we have two text labels, and we'll see how they will be interconnected to each other. So first of all, we'll create our first dropdown, which is a country. So we are creating a hard-coded dropdown items instead of connecting it with any SharePoint list or Excel sheet. But if you want, you can also do that as well. But for the understanding, I'm just using a hard-coded value. In the next video, we will also learn how to connect the SharePoint and use that as a cascading dropdown in Power Apps. So first of all, we will create a hard-coded dropdown in the country. So select that dropdown, and you will see we have an item property of that in a dropdown. So we'll just go into that and we'll write down our values inside these two square brackets. So these brackets are often used when you are creating some kind of table or a dropdown list. So we will remove all of these item 1, item 2, item 3, and we'll replace it with our own examples. So we are creating an example of country. So we will write down the name of countries here, and then we'll see how to use those values as our dropdown, right? So first of all, let's start with the country. Let's say India, and then we'll add another example, UK, and then we can create another one which is Australia. Let's say Australia, and then we can create one more, Brazil, right? And now we have these drop down India, USA. Let's make it full. Okay, so we have this country. So let's see if these countries are working or not. So you have two options. You can just go to the preview tab and play the application, or you can just press the Alt key on the keyboard and press that, and you'll see the drop down values are here, and you can select any of these values. So right now you don't have these drop downs interconnected. So let's connect this text with this drop down. So let's say if you want to select any country and you want to display the continent from which that country belongs, so that continent will be displayed in this text field here, right? So let's say just press Alt again, and then we'll select the text, and we'll go to the text property of that text field, remove the default values, and we'll type our function, which is called switch function. So switch function is just like the if function which we use mostly in Excel. So first of all, the function starts with the value from where you want to take a reference value. So that reference value will come from that drop down, which is dd country dot selected dot value. So that is how we use every time we have to use a drop down. It should end with the selected dot value, and then we will give a reference. Let's say India. If India is selected, then what should be the output? It should be the Asia, right? And this is how we will keep on adding with the what we call commas and inverted commas. If the USA is selected, then what should be the output? It should be North America, let's say, right? Okay, and so on. If UK, then it should be Europe. Okay. Okay, so let's close this with this example, and we'll see if these three examples are working fine or not, right? So if you can see that it's already starting to take the values from the drop down, because we already selected India here. And if I just go and preview the application, if I just select USA, it should take the North America as the continent. So this is one such example of how to use a switch function to get a hard-coded value where you don't have the option, but you just want one value as an output. If you select one value in a drop-down or in a radio box or in checkbox, right? So this is how you can create one example of switch function to create a hard-coded value. And now we will see how to create another example where you can create two drop-downs using the switch function, where you can have the option to select country and then the option to select a city related to that country. So let's go back and just understand how to do that. So if you see in this example, we have just used India and then output as Asia. But in the switch function, when we will use in the city, we will create another list within that heading. So under India, we will have another list of cities, and similarly with the USA and Brazil and UK and other countries, right? So let's go to the city, and we will go and select its items property, and we will write a similar switch function here, and we'll create another drop down items in the city, and that will be used as a cascading drop down, right? So we'll just start simply with the switch function, right? And then we will use again the same drop down dd country dot selected dot value, and then we'll start with a comma, and then we will add our first header as India, and then we'll open square brackets, and then we'll create a list of city which belongs to that specific country. So let's say Delhi, then Mumbai. All right, so and then we can create another one, Bangalore. So let's say we have created three under one country, and then we'll again start another. Let's say we'll select USA, and then open the brackets, the square brackets, and then we'll see let's say New York, and then we will add another one. Let's say Los Angeles. All right, so let's create another one. Let's say Chicago. All right, so these are the two cities, and they're two different sets of cities. Let's create one more for a better understanding. So let's create for UK, and then we'll open square brackets again, right? So there is one problem here. We have not started with the commas here. So that is how this function should work. All right, now we have UK. So let's create first London, and then we have Manchester, and then we have another one, Birmingham, and this is where we will close our brackets, and this is we will end with our with regular brackets. So this is we have a list of countries within a drop-down list, right? So let's try this and see if it is working fine or not, right? So let's enter and run the application on preview. Let's select India and let's go to the drop-down. Now you can see we have a list of cities belongs to that specific country. And if I select USA, then it should change to New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. And if I say UK, then we have London, Manchester, Birmingham, right? So this is how you can create the what you call a cascading drop-down when you have the hard-coded values within the Power Apps. And the next video we will also learn how to connect a SharePoint list to create a dynamic set of drop-down cascading list of drop-down, right? So now next step we will see how to connect the output of this city to this text label, and it's very simple. So the text label, the text value of this text field, we will just simply go and delete it, and we will select drop down dd city dot selected dot value. So whatever value you select here will be displayed here. So this is how you can do that, right? And if I select UK, it should change, or let's say India, and then it's Delhi, and if you say Mumbai, right? So this is how you can create cascading drop-downs in Power Apps, and then you can connect these outputs back to the SharePoint list, or maybe into a collection, or into SharePoint, or into Excel sheet, right? So this is it for today's video, and in the next video we will understand how to connect a dynamic list or dynamic drop-downs or dynamic cascading drop-downs in Power Apps. So thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can also watch some of my other projects which I have created on Power Apps. And if you want to learn those, please comment tutorial again under those videos, and we'll create a specific tutorial for those projects. Thank you so much. Hello friends, my name is Shashank and welcome back to my channel Corporate Guy. And during this video, we're going to build an employee database from scratch. I had posted one video a few years back where I made a similar kind of database in Excel, but this time we're using Power Apps to make it more advanced in terms of features and the overall look and feel. So for that, I've already created a SharePoint list which will be used as a database for this dashboard or this application, Power App. So this is just a random database which I have created using SharePoint or using ChatGPT to generate these random samples. So I will connect this database with my Power Apps, and only one thing which I have left here is the employee picture, which we will learn how to add it on Power Apps using Power Apps, and how you can save it and then retrieve it back on the Power Apps screen. So if you need any help in building this kind of database in SharePoint, you can watch my another video where I have mentioned the step-by-step guide how to use this SharePoint list as a database. But still, if you need help with this particular SharePoint list, you can comment, and I'll make a separate video on give you the basic step-by-step instructions on how to create it. So if you see, we have multiple columns here, starting from the title. The title can be renamed to anything else, so we will just rename it. Title is the default column which you get every time you create a SharePoint list. So instead of title, I'll make it employee ID, right? So that's the column, we can use it here. But even if you rename it here, but still if you connect with the Power Apps, you will still see the title, so don't get confused, because title remains as a title for, as I know, unique, or you can say a column which is fixed by the SharePoint. So you can rename it again in the Power Apps as well. Then we have full name, gender, date of birth, email, phone number, and all basic details we have. And then we have the other options like the skills, certifications, which are having drop downs. You can select from those drop downs what kind of skills and certifications you want to add under that employee. Then we have the status, whether the employee has resigned, on leave, or active. And then the last column is the employee picture. So we'll use all these columns and this information and connect it with the Power Apps. So this is the Power App home screen. So when you open the Power Apps, you have this option where you will see the create option. So create option gives you the option to have multiple inbuilt or pre-built templates. You can start with any of these, but my go-to feature is always start with a blank canvas, which gives you the option to customize it as per your requirements. So right now we'll use fixed tablet size Power App. But if you want to make it responsive, which means that it will keep changing the overall dimensions and the size of the app as per the screen you're using, you can go with the responsive. If you want to make it specific for a phone or a mobile, you can use the phone size. And if you want to make it specific for a tablet, you can use this tablet size Power App. So this is the basic home screen when you open the Power Apps and you select the desired template from which you want to start, and you will get this blank canvas, right? On this blank canvas, first thing we'll do is we'll connect the database. So we'll go to this data option on the left side and we'll add our data. So if you have your SharePoint, it will automatically get listed under the connections, right? So go to the connections and go to the SharePoint, select your SharePoint site, and then you can select that specific site from that and select that specific list or folder which you want to get connected with the Power Apps. So this is the list employee database Power Apps. I'll connect it with the Power Apps. Once the connection is ready, I will go back to my history view where we have all the screens. So in this is a blank screen, as you can see. So we will have some pre-built canvas designs which we can use to save some time, right? So we'll go to this new screen drop down and I'll select the most common one which I use generally, that is the sidebar and this layout, sidebar plus main screen, right? So if you want to make it a single screen, you can do that as well. So this top will be used as a header. This will be used as a list of all the employees which are already in the database, and this one will be used to display the records or maybe to create a new record as well. So first of all, let's start with the option to view the existing database, right? And then we will create a separate screen to create a new database, right? So first of all, we already have connected our database with it. So then we will select on any of the specific containers. Let me just increase the size a little bit here, right? Yeah. So on the top screen, we have this option plus icon. I'll go to this plus icon and I'll select header. So if you don't see the header option here, which means that you have not turned on the modern features, right? So I'll go to the settings tab here. On the updates tab, you'll see the modern controls and themes. So I'll turn it on, and then you will have the new features. So now we will have this option of adding a header here. So now you see this is the preview option, which means it's still under testing. So yeah, this is the default thing you get when you use the header. Then you have the options to go into the properties tab and make some changes. Like if you don't want to display the title, you can turn it off. If you don't want to display the logo, you can turn it off. If you don't want to display the profile picture, you can turn it off. So these are the features you can add here. And even if you want to change the screen name, you can do that as well. So we'll get back to this thing later on. On the left side, I'll add let's say I'll add a table here, right? So table preview, and once we have the table, it will by default will ask you to connect it with the database. So I'll just select my database, which we've already created on the SharePoint, and the moment the database is connected, you will see that it will display all the employee details which are already saved in the SharePoint list. So we will just select our table here, and I'll resize it as per the dimensions we have of the container. So I'll select the table and I'll go to the properties tab again, right? And here I will just make it a flexible height, and it will automatically take all the blank space of the container here. And then we have the options that what kind of information you want to display on the table. Like right now you can see the full name, the employee ID, and the employee ID, and the employee email ID. So we can change that as per our requirements. So I'll just go back and I'll select the fields tab on the right side, edit, and you can just shuffle the things which you want to display, the top 3 things. And based on that, you can again the information will be changed. And if you don't see that option that which you want to display on the tables preview, you can go to the add field, and I'll use the active icon here, the status icon. So that's the status, and I'll use it as a third option which I want to display on the table, right? And then I'll move it on the third list, the third item on the table. And yeah, now you will see that I have 3 columns which are listed in the table. One is the full name, then we have the employee ID, and then we have the status of that employee, right? So now this is the option we have here. Now we have few more options here which can give you the option to add a search option or maybe sort option. So if you see this is the drop down option here, right? So if I play it on the preview icon, you can now go and you can sort and filter things here. If you want to sort based on status, right, A to Z, so it will just sort it out based on the selection which you have done here, right? So all the active employees will be listed on first, and then only, and then resign, right? So this is how you can make changes on the display part and the table itself, right? So then we have this right side of the screen which will be used to display all the rest of the information from that particular employee here, right? So I'll go and insert a form. Right, that form will be used to only display the information, right? It will not be used to create, right? So this is database we connected with the form. And the moment it gets ready, you will see that it will connect this form with this table. So the moment you select any of the records here, it will display all the rest of the information from the database here, right? So first of all, data source is the employee database, and I'll go select the form, go to the properties tab here, and go to the items. And in the items, we will select this table as a reference. So first of all, let's see what's the name of this table. The table's name is table 1. That's easy. So I will just go and I'll say table 1 dot selected items, right? Okay, so now this is the function we're going to use it, table1.selected. So I'll just again go and preview the application, and I'll select that, and you will see that all the information, rest of the information of that particular employee is displayed here. And if I change another one, you will see that it will keep on changing here. But if you see the information is not complete here, we are having some of the missing fields. So we'll again go back and select this form, click on that, and you will see this border on the form. Go to the fields tab under the properties tab, and select all the rest of the fields which you want to display here, right? So I'll select all the details, Aadhaar number, the bank, blood group, certifications, right? And then we have the DOB, education, emergency contact name and phone, employee picture, ESIC number, experience, whatever you want to display on that screen, you can select under this. If you want to leave few options here, that's up to you, right? So let's again select all the rest of the information here, right? I'll also add an option here where you can even edit the particular field and then submit back, right, into the SharePoint. So now let's see if we have these options selected. I'll go to the add, and all these options which I have now selected will get added in the form here, right? So now you see this particular form is completed, and I just go and select any of the records, and it will fill out all the information here. But now if you see, we don't have any picture of that of any of the employees, so it will not be displayed here. So we will see how to add a picture here, right? And before that, we will first of all customize this particular form. I'll select this form here, and I'll go again to the fields tab. And in the fields tab, the first thing I'll add, let's say we'll just start from here. We'll select the title tab, and I'll just place it on the top, right? So this is the employee ID. Right on the top, and then we'll have the full name, and then the email, and then we have the employee picture. So now we have the employee ID on the top. I told you, right, even if you change the title tabs, title columns name in the SharePoint, it will still be displayed as a title in the Power Apps. So now you have the option to rename it here as well. So you can just go and delete it. First of all, let's unlock the card here. So delete it, open commas, and then write employee ID. And then close it. So now you will have this field name employee ID here. Then you have the full name, then you have the email, and then we can again move this one and put it under this the employee picture. And then we will plan the rest of the information here. And even if you want to keep it on the down, on the lower side or the end of the form, that's up to you. Okay. So this is the employee picture, and then we have these basic information about phone number, department, and everything. If you want to reshuffle that as well, that's up to you. But I'll just leave it as it is, because now you know that how you can shuffle and place these data fields as per your requirement. Right? So now we have this basic form which is ready. We have the employee ID, full name, email, and the employee picture. So now first of all, we will select, we will add an option here to update the information from this screen. How we can update if anything changes. Let's say that employee has resigned, right, or if the employee location has been changed. So you can even just simply go and you can play the application, change the location, but there is no option to save it back to the SharePoint, right? So even if you want to update the picture or add the picture, you can do that as well. So we'll add a button here which will be used to update the information of the particular record, right? So let's see how we can do that. All right. So to add a button here, first of all, we will add a space to add these buttons here, which will be then used to edit the form and then update the form back to the SharePoint. So for that, I'll go to the tree view back, and in the screen you will see these are the containers, right, which are holding those forms together. So we have this main container, and then we have the sidebar container. So under the main container, I'll add one more container where I'll put these buttons to perform these specific actions. So I'll just select this container and I'll click, and it will automatically get added in the bottom of the form or the container. So I'll just select the container, I'll go back to the properties, and I'll turn off the flexible height option here, and then I'll make it a specific height of 80, let's say, and then it will be on the bottom of the container. And if you want to even reduce the height further to 50, we can do that because it's enough space actually to add few buttons here, right? So now this is the container, and this is the form which is ready here. So we can add two buttons here. If you want to add multiple buttons, but we will add two buttons. One is the edit for editing the form, and one will be to submit the form, right? So let's go to this, and I'll select the button here, right? And then we'll add one more button to submit the form. So let's place it on the right side, okay? And then let's zoom in a bit and adjust it. Okay, so now before we start adding features or the functions in the button, I'll select this form, and I will go to this form's default mode, and I will add the default mode is the form mode dot view, which means that default mode of this form will be the view form, which means that you cannot edit anything on this form by mistake. You cannot delete anything, right? So that's the feature we're adding here, right? And then we will do one thing. We will give that edit option in this button. So on select of this button, select the button and go to the on select property on the right side, and we will have to add an option here, edit form, right? So which form we're going to edit is the form 1. So yeah. So this is what we will do once we have added that feature here. So right now you see that this form cannot be edited, but once we click on that button, the form will be turned into the edit mode. Now you see that we have this option to edit, right, things here. You can change anything here, right? So this is how this edit function will work. And once you have made the changes, then you can submit those changes back to the SharePoint, and then again this form will be saved and reset into the view mode, right? Let's add one more button here. So I'll just simply Control C and Control V, the same form, copy, and then again paste it here, right? So sometimes if it's not working, you can simply add a new button. But yeah, so now we have this second button which will be used to update the form, right? So I'll just delete it and I'll add submit form, form 1, right? Okay, so now you see that once the form is submitted, then it will update all the changes made in this current form. So that's it, right? And now select the submit button and add one more option here, which is view form, right? Form 1. So let's see if that works fine, right? So let's go and run the application, and we'll again change the employee information of employee 001 from Chennai to Bangalore, and then we will submit the form and to back to the SharePoint, and then we will try to retrieve the information and see if it works fine or not. So let's again click on that employee 001, and let's see if it is still in the edit mode now. You see that form is now in the view mode, right? So now if I again go and click on the edit button, so it will again get back to the edit mode, and then you can just simply select submit, and then it will back to the view mode. So this is how you can actually use these two options, two buttons here, to edit and submit the form information back to the SharePoint. So the next step we'll do is we'll rename these forms, these buttons, and we'll add some icon here, right? So text will be edit, and we'll add an icon here of a edit icon, this pencil icon here, right? So now we have this edit button, and then we have this submit button. We'll rename it as well submit, right? and then we'll add an icon here. So the icon can be used either a checkbox option, this one, or let's say the plus icon here, which is generally used to show that information is being added in the database, right? So let's say we will use this checkbox icon here. So yeah, so this is submit, this is edit. We'll select both of these buttons, and I'll just zoom in a little bit, and then I'll place them in the center of the container, right? Reduce some distance between them. So, yeah. So this is it for the view screen on which we are going to view and update the information of the employees, right? And the next thing, let's see how we can add the employee picture here and then display it back, right? And for that, I'll just let's go back and run the application and then select this, and it will ask you to add a picture here. So let's say I'll add my picture here, and now it is saved, right? And then you can submit it back, and then we'll see if it is being saved and retrieved properly back to the Power App or not. So yeah, so it's working. We have not made any changes. Simply we have added that image function here, and then we added the image. We can retrieve it back. Not very complicated, and we don't have to perform any the customization in retrieving and saving the image here. So now, so we can easily retrieve the information. We can easily update the information. So the one part of our application is working fine. So now let's close this screen, and we will add a screen to add new information, right? How we can do that? That's very easy. So we'll simply go to the new screen, and we'll add a customized pre-built template here. So the template we will use is we will have one form and one header. So that's the basic layout we can use, this header and form. So we will use this layout, and right, simply we will put one header on the top and then one form as a main screen with the submit and cancel button. Very basic stuff here. So I just select the form, which is form 2, and I select the database which I'm going to connect with, right? And then again the same steps will be followed. We will have to align all those fields in this form, and then we can start adding the information. And on the submit button, we can simply use the submit command, and that will submit the information back to the SharePoint. And on the view screen, we can go and we can retrieve back all the information which is saved in the database, right? So now you see this form is using a single column layout. So we will select the form, we will go to the properties tab, and then you can have the option to choose how many columns you want to display in a particular form. So we will display 4 columns here, right? So this is how it will look like, and then default mode will be the new mode because it will always be in the blank mode. And then we will have the option to add the rest of the fields which are not displayed here. Same step we did earlier in the view form as well. So as we can see that all the information is now loaded onto the form screen. So then we have the option again to customize it, place few fields as per our need where we want to put that. So I'll first of all move this employee picture on the top left, where we will add the employee picture. If you want to put it on the bottom end, that's up to you, right? So once it's moved to the bottom or the top left, then we'll start shuffling a few of the other information, and then we'll make few drop downs as default, right? So now we have this option of the blank form. Let's run this and see how it looks like when you run the application. So employee pick, you can add the employee picture here, right? And then we have the full name, the email, phone number, department. You can select designation, date of joining, work location, everything we have it. So we will make few changes, such as we can make. So now let's edit the default property of this control, which is the status, and we'll select that field, and we'll select that drop down, the combo box, and we'll go to the default selected items, and whatever you find which is mentioned here as a default, you can delete that, and then you can just simply type in this bracket and commas, and then type in active or whatever drop down icon you want to mention here. So it will be displayed as a default property here. Every time you open the blank form, it will be displayed active as your default selected choice. You can do that on any of these fields, right? Whatever which one are the combo box or which one are the drop down. So this basic feature differs from field to field, right? So this is the basic form which we have created here, and then now let's select and see the options of the submit button here. So now you see we have already given this option of submit form button, and then reset form back to the blank form, and the cancel will be to cancel, and reset form means whatever information you have added here. If you click on the cancel, it will reset the form back to the blank form. So let's test it out and see how it works. I'll just go and first of all add the employee picture here. Simply let's say I'll add my picture again, right? And then I'll add my full name here. Let's add test. So now there are multiple ways where you can improve the overall functionality of this Power App, such as you can add a validation control here to ensure that emails are having that at the rate at the end, and then your work organization's name, whatever you want to use it. And if you're using a phone number, you can add a validation that it should be at least 10 digits and not more than 10 digits. So all those validations can be added in the Power App to ensure that you're submitting the right information, right? And now if I go down and I select, see, this is the active by default, right? And then you can submit it. You can make few fields mandatory, that without submitting those fields, the form will not get saved in the Power Apps or in SharePoint, right? So let's say how we can do that. I'll give you one example of how you can make these forms fields mandatory here. First of all, I'll select this full name, right? And then I'll go to the properties tab, this property, and then I'll select the required option here. And it's by default is false. You can just make it unlock it, and then you can make it true, which means that it will now be treated as a mandatory field. Until you submit it, the form will not be submitted. So how to make sure that your form is not submitting the information until you have all the required fields filled up. So for that, we have this option of called on failure, right? Which means that if forms required fields are not filled, you can put some kind of message or error message here, which will let the user know that this form has not submitted and that you have to fill all the required fields here, right? So what we can do that is we can just say notify, right? Or you can say notify, notification, notify, and then we can say notification type dot error, and then after that you can even add a text message here that whatever you want to add here. Let's say fill all required information, and then we'll test it it's working fine or not. So let's say where is the error now? Maybe in the brackets. Okay, error. Well, that is okay. Now let's test it out and see whether this notification error works fine or not. So let's run the application and let's try to submit without filling this required field here. Let's submit, and it should pop up this error message. Yes. Okay. Fill all the required information cannot be converted to number, right? So error message is being displayed, but maybe there is some more error which you have to look for, right? So you will also see this option here if the form doesn't submit due to some kind of error. So you can see that as well in the buttons and in the functions of the button here as well. So now let's go and again run the form, and then we will fill in the information here, test 3, and then we'll submit the form, and then let's see if it is submitting or giving any errors here. So now you see the information is now submitted back to the SharePoint, and we'll go back to the SharePoint. We'll refresh the list here, and we should be able to see the 2 records which we have just created. That should be here. If not, then we can search. Let's say we created test 1 and test 3. Yeah, so this is where we have it. Yeah, the test and test 3, the latest one which we have created. Okay, so one thing which we had to change is we had to change this date of joining column to from value to let's say date. That option is not here. You can delete this, and then you can add a new column which is having a particular option, let's say of the date option. So then we can replace that in the Power App itself, right? So that's not a big deal. And if you face any challenges doing that, you can comment, and I'll help you with that. So this is basic functionality is almost ready. And now let's test this cancel button as well. If I enter any information, let's say test, and I cancel it, it will remove everything, and it will put it back to the blank mode, right? So this is the Power App where we have created 2 screens. So this is the form to create new records, and this is the screen to view and update and edit your existing records. So we will rename this screen to view records. Press enter, and then it automatically should display the screen name on the top, right? And then we'll go to screen 3, and then we will again rename it to a new record. New records, right? So we have 2 screens, new record and view records. So that is the very basic functionality which you can build in the Power App. So in the header tab, you have this option of adding the title, right? So you can delete the existing title, the default value here, and you can go to the properties tab and select the title property here, and then you can add an option called active screen name. So that's very easy. App.active. Let's delete it again. App.activescreen.name. So once you add this option here, it will automatically take the name of the existing screen and show it as a header name. And then you have the option to again turn off some of the options like the logo. I don't want that logo. Maybe if you want to add something here, you can go into that and select an image, or right. So that's up to you. You can turn it off. Then you can turn off the profile picture as well. Right. So now you have the screen name, the new records, and I'll go back and go to the view records as well. And again, I'll select the header. It's already showing that feature of app.activescreen.name. Right. This is how you can do that. Right. This is the home view screen. This is the submit button, the edit button, and then you can delete this one if you don't want it. Right. So now we have this basic application which is ready to be deployed, right? And then you can customize this application further for your use, right? And please comment on the comment section. Let me know if you want to add specific features in this application, or you need any help. You can just let me know in the comment section, and I'll make another video and we'll discuss those points in the next video. Until then, I hope that this video will really help you to create a similar kind of application for your official usage or maybe for personal usage. So for today's video, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this channel. Hello friends, my name is Shashank and welcome back to my channel Corporate Guy. And today in this video, we are going to showcase a very simple application on Power Apps, which is collecting the daily news from multiple sources and then collecting it and showing it in a Power App screen. So this Power App is built to be used on a mobile phone, but you can design it according to your needs. So what is happening here is that this Power App is collecting data from 3 different sources of news: New York Times, Times of India, and BBC. And we have a date filter here, which you can use to filter out the news based on the date. So the one feature which I've added here is that you can't select the date which is beyond the today's date, so that you don't get any errors, because if there is no news published for the upcoming date, you won't get anything that it might throw a runtime error. Right. So this is the feature we have added, but you can go back and but you can't go beyond the today's date. So once you have selected the date and the source of news, it will change all the news articles published on that news website, right? So you can just read the title and the summary, but in case you want to read the complete article, we have added one additional button here which you can select, and it will open that news article into the website of that specific news channel. So this is how this application is working. So now we will just go through and we'll build this Power App step by step. So let's start this video and see and help you build this Power App application. You can use it on your mobile phone, on your desktop, right? So let's start. So first of all, open up your Power App site if you already have the account connected, and very simple step which you have to do is to just go to the create button, and then you will see the options available with you. You can start with any of these options and then choose the specific size of the screen or the template. So I am starting with the blank canvas. So we have 3 different options here. One is the responsive, tablet, and phone size, which means that if you choose responsive, which means that you can it will automatically adjust the screen size as per the whatever the gadget you are using, and it will just fill up the empty screen. And if you're using tablet, so it will be give you the specifications sizes of the tablet, and if you're using phone, then obviously you will get the phone size, right? So I have developed it for my phone. So let's start with the phone screen, right? So once you open this screen, so it will create a blank canvas for you. So in the meantime, it is opening up. So let's go back to my Power App screen where I've already built this Power App, right? So this is the step 1 where you have to open the Power App and create a blank canvas. And once you have that, you will have this layout with you. So I've developed only one screen where I have these all the features and all the tools and all the options and all the fields are there, right? So once it gets loaded, you will get this by default the screen 1. So you can rename it whatever you want to name it. So first of all, in the blank screen, we are going to put some of the screen dividers. So we call them containers. So containers are is a kind of which gives you a good look, and you can just put and club things into a specific size and width, right? So first of all, let's go and insert a vertical container, right? So this is a vertical container, which means that you can add multiple containers within a container, and then you can just put your things, your fields, your buttons, your headers into that container. So this is a blank vertical container, and I'll go to the plus icon and I'll add 3 containers here. One container is this, and I will turn off the flexible height option here, and I'll give it a height of, let's say, 80, right? So you can see that first container is on the top, and I'll again go on this container, insert another container. And this is my second container where the drop down and the date feature will be added. So I will again resize it, turn off the flexible height and give it a height of 80. And then I'll add the third container, where the news feed will be displayed. So let's add another container here. So this is my container, and I turn on the flexible height, which means that it will just take all the empty space available in the screen. So first of all, let's select the container 1, and then let's give a gap between these 3 containers of 5, right? So like you can see that there's a little bit of gap between these 3 containers, so that it looks good when you're opening it on the mobile screen. So first of all, I'll go to the top container, which is container 2, and I'll just remove the radius and make it 0. And I'll do that for all the containers, right? Make it 0. And for the gallery as well, 0, right? So this is what we have done here. We have added 3 containers, one for the header. So first of all, my bad, you have turned on the modern controls if you have not turned on. So modern controls and themes, turn it on, and then just go on the plus icon, type header, and you will see that it's under testing. So now the header has been added, so you can adjust the size of the header, and there are a few features on the header which you want to keep, which you don't want to keep. First of all, is title. So I will keep the title. I turn off the logo, and I turn off the profile picture. So the screen one, you can rename it. Just double tap and go to it. So there are 2 options available. Either you can take the screen name, or you can just write your own name. So I'll write daily news feed. So this is my title, right? And I'll just make it center aligned and increase the font size to, let's say, to 30. So this is my daily news feed. First container is filled with the header. So let's go to the second container, and here I'll add 2 controls. One is for the date, and second will be a drop down to collect the news feed, right? So first of all, let's go to the insert and select a date picker, right? So this is my date control. I'll just increase size a little bit and adjust its width, right? And then I'm going to add 1 drop down. Or you can add a combo box as well if you want. If you have multiple sources and you want to give options of search and then select. So combo box, and this is the combo box we have added here, right? You can adjust the height and width as per your requirement. So we have 2 controls here, date control and the drop-down combo control. So let's go to the drop-down combo control, to the advanced features here, and there is one property of this combo box, the input text placeholder, which means that the thing which you see when nothing is selected is find item. So you can change it to anything which you want to display. So let's say select source. Right, so you can see it will display the select source. So one thing which you have to keep in mind is whenever you're adding any text field, it should be under this these commas, right? So this is how the things work. And then we have date control here. So I'll just go to the properties of the date control, and the first thing we'll go is the default, right? So which means that which date you want to display when you open the application, right? So by default it will show you the today's date, right? If it's not, you can change it, right? And then the second feature is the end date, which means that it should not be beyond today's date. So it means that you can't select any date which is beyond today's date. By default, it will show you today's date, but you can't go beyond, but you can go back, right, and select any date which you want, right? So this is the date control. We have made some changes here, right? So let's just preview the application and see how it looks. All right. So I can just select. You can see that I can't go beyond today's date, but I can go back and select any date, right? And you can just search by month, year, and everything. And we have the source. By default, it will show you the empty or the default items, item 1, item 2, item 3, right? So this is the basic setup which we have done here for our application. So now let's go back to my application which we have just developed. So let me show you what we have done here. So first of all, in the drop-down field, if you see the items property, I'll open up the items property, which means that what are the items which we are collecting as a dropdown. So there are multiple ways which you can use a dropdown. Either you can have a list or you can have a collection. But here I have a table, a hard-coded table in the Power App. So you can make changes within the Power App, but you can't make it dynamic, right? Until you have connected it with any other source where you are changing items, right? So what is happening here is that we have 3 items in this dropdown, and we have divided them into name, which means what is the display name of the dropdown item will be the New York Times, Times of India, and BBC. And second is the URL. So what is that item which is connected to that name, which means that it is giving you the 2 items, which means that you have a table where you have one column is name and second column is the URL, right? So once we have this thing here, these 3 items here, right? So you can just simply just go to there and you see that this is the table which we have created inside the dropdown. We have a name and we have a URL, right? So how to find the URL? So next question is that when you are connecting the Power App with any news source, how do you collect the URLs? So URL which we have collected here is the RSS feed. So RSS feed is given by the news outlets, but the problem is that you can't use those RSS feed for any commercialized things. You can use it for education purpose or for other items where you are not making any money, right? So I have taken the RSS feed here. So how to find RSS feed? You can just search on Google and you will see something like this as the RSS.xml, which is the RSS feed of the BBC, and then we have a similar feed for the Times of India. The RSS, you will see that RSS will be there in every feed. That say that it is the RSS feed of that particular news website. So we have taken these URLs and we have given the input in that data table. So I'll just simply copy that. It will save some time, or even if you want, I'll just put them in the description box that you don't have to struggle finding these functions. So I just go to the Power App screen and I'll select my drop down, and in the items property, first of all, I'll delete this and I'll paste the copied content, and you will see I have the same items property here. But with the modern controls, there are a few things to keep in mind that you have to make some changes even if you have given the input. So I just select the drop down, go to the properties, and then on the display feature, I'll go to the fields, select the edit, and then go to the add field, which means that what is that item which you want to display in the drop down. Either you want to display the name or you want to display the URL. So I will display the name here and add, right? So now you see we have the names listed here, but by default it will show you the numbers. So we have 3 fields here: New York Times, Times of India, and BBC, and we have a date control as well, right? So now the next thing is, let me go back to my Power App. The next thing is the on-change property of this dropdown, which means that the moment I am changing from one source to another, it will create a collection, which means that a temporary collection of the news feeds into a Power App collection, and then that collection will be taken as input for the gallery. So how this works is, first of all, the only thing which you have to look into is the list.rss feed items. That's it. So we'll just copy this and I'll just show you how this works. Go to the insert, put a vertical gallery here, right? And for a gallery, there should be a source from where the data is being taken. So for that, by default, it will show you a blank gallery. So leave it as it is. Select the gallery control, right? And then go to the layout and select title and subtitle, which is the layout I'm using here. But if you want to display anything else, you can select the appropriate layout for yourself, right? So now the items property, I will type in the simple rss.list.feed items, and then open up the parentheses, right? But before you go into this rss.list.feed items, you have to make sure that you have connected it with your RSS feed. So go to the data tab on the left hand side, go to the add data, and in that type the RSS. So this is the first thing which you have to connect as a data source with your Power App. So once you have done that, now the RSS feed will work properly. So now I have the RSS feed and I want to add a link of what we call the URL for which we are using the news feed, and I just copy and paste that link here, close it, and now I have the RSS feed here, but it giving me an error, which means that it's not valid, which means that the sample heading is not valid, which simply means we have to connect it with the specific field which is collected from the RSS feed. So select the gallery control and then go to the fields, and in the title field just simply select this item.title, which means that by the moment we use this list feed items, it has collected all the columns or the fields from the RSS feed, and there are some default which you will find in every RSS feed is the title, summary, publish date, primary link, ID, and the copyright and other things, right? So we are just focusing on two things here, which is the title and the summary. So on the title field, I will select title and it will automatically display the title of that news article, and simply for the subtitle I will select summary and it will show me the summary of that news. So this is how very easily you can connect the news RSS feed with your Power Apps. And there are a few customizations which you can do, right? Like you can increase the template size, you can adjust wherever you want to keep your fields. First of all, if I go to the summary field, I'll make it auto height, which means that it will automatically increase the height of the label as the number of lines or the number of text items increases in that news feed. So this is the one thing you can do, and then you can just increase the template size as per your requirement, right? Adjust the placement of the title, just make it a little bit on the top, select the summary, give it some space, increase the size of the summary field, right? And you can make it auto height, right? And then you can add the option of a scroll, which means that if the lines are beyond the set height of the field, you can just have scroll option to read the complete article, right? And the next is the icon for the arrow icon, right? So you can replace this icon just like I have done that. Simply select the icon, go to the icon control and type in open. So it will open, will show you the new icon. So this is the icon which we have used in our application. Just simply place it wherever you want to place it, and then maybe you can increase or change the color of the icon, and that's it. And if you want to increase the size a little bit, you can reduce the template padding from 16 to 10. And then you will have the little bit sizes increase. So now by default, this button will not work. We have to connect it with the source where you want to land once when you click on that icon, right? So we will click on that icon and we will go here and I'll type launch, which means that it's a function to launch a new web link or a URL. So where you want to launch and what you want to launch is this item dot primary link, and close the parenthesis. So now this is icon. Now you can use it to launch it to a new web page. Just run and click on that and it will open that specific news article into a new screen or a new tab. So this is how this Power App is working. But right now we have not connected it with a dropdown, right? Because and right now it is just collecting feed from one news source. So if you want to just connect it with the one news source, this is it for you. You can just leave it here. But if you want to connect multiple sources, there is one more step which we have to do here. We have to connect it with the dropdown and with the date field, so that you can filter your data based on the date selected and based on the source of news selected, right? So first of all, let's go back to the dropdown, and this time we'll go to the on change property, right? So on change property is once you are changing from one source to another source, there will be a temporary collection being created within the Power App, which will collect news specifically from that URL, right? And then display it in the gallery. Let's see what you've done in my application. So this is the on change property of my dropdown. What is happening here is there are two functions which are working. One is the is blank, which means that if the combo box is not selected or it's blank, it will by default show you all the items, right? And if not, then it will collect specifically for that URL. Okay, so the URL which we've already done here is already in the gallery, so that's what we have done here. So instead of directly hard coding a URL, we are taking the URL from the combo control, right? And I'll show you how we have done that. Just copy it and on the on-chain property simply paste it. So let me show you how it works. So first of all is blank combo canvas 1. So we have a different name here for this. If not, you can rename it. So combo canvas 1, same name we are using, date to the canvas 1. So you can rename it and then you can just take it reference here, right? And then clear collect. So this is the function which we use to create a temporary collection. If you don't want to use clear, what will happen? It will keep on collecting data every time you open the application or every time you switch between one source to another source, and your application will become slow because it is collecting so much data every time and you are switching and you're opening up the application. It will keep creating the data. So to make sure that you are not just overloading the application, we use the clear collect function here. And the clear collect is that where you want to collect that. So this call RSS feed items is the temporary collection, right? Let me just select that and show you, right? Sorry, not here. I'll just show you the table which is created once we have created the temporary collection here. So we will go to the variables. And I'll show you the collections. So this is the collection which we have created here, right? So right now there are no items in this, so it will show 0 rows because we have not run the application and we have not used the dropdown as such. So next item is the RSS list feed items is the function which is being used to collect data specifically from that combo box. Let me just delete it and type combo box canvas 1 dot selected, right? So now there are two options with you. Either you want to select the name or the URL. So if you remember, in the drop-down, we have two columns created. One was the name and one was the URL. So here we have to take a reference of the URL and that's it, right? So now this is working. The drop-down is working. The next step is we have to connect the output of this combo box with the gallery control, and then it will start working. Let me just go back to the Power App and I'll show you how it is working here. Select the gallery control and go to the items property of that gallery. And I'll show you what is happening here. So we have taken two functions here. One is the filter function to filter out the items based on the date selected, and second is the collection which we have created using the dropdown. So call RSS feed, filter call RSS feed if the date value of the newsfeed item is equal to or greater than or less than or to the date selected in the date field. Right? So this is the function we are using here. Okay, so let's go back and in the items property of this, instead of writing this, I'll just simply delete it. I'll type filter. I'll type filter and then I'll give a reference of the source. My source is call RSS feed items, and then what is that condition you want to use here? So we want to use here the date, the published date. So we'll type date value. So date value will convert the published date into the right format, and we will type published date close parenthesis is equal to. So let's see what is the name of this control. So the name of this control is date picker canvas 1, right? Select the gallery control is equal to date picker canvas 1 dot selected date and close the parenthesis. So now this is it. So we have written our very simple function here. Let's run the application and see if it is working or not. You see, as per the 1st of June, these are the newsfeed items available. And if you change the source, it will also change the news articles or the news feeds. BBC will change it, and even the link will automatically adjust it as per the source of information or the source of news you have selected here. Right. So this is how the application is working. Very simple, and you can just adjust the height as per the height of the container. Just select the gallery control, go to the height property of that, and select container 4.height. That's it, and it will automatically adjust the height according to the height of the container in which this gallery control is setting. Right. So the next is few customization. Simply select the gallery control, and you will see there are few features are here. One is this rectangle, and another is this separator. So you can just color it into different color to show how it looks. So it will give you a different segregation between the different news articles. Right. You can increase the template size a little bit more if you want. Increase the size to this, and that is it. Save it. Give it a name. News feed 1. All right, and save it. So now this application is ready. Right. One more thing, you can select the default date of this date control to today's date. So every time you open the application, you will see specific what do you call the news of that specific day. So the selected date will be today, or you can make it now, whatever you want to do it, right? So this is by default is today's date, and then we have the drop down to select source of news from different news articles or news websites, and then we have a gallery control, and this is it. So the application is ready. You can publish it, you can give it access to multiple people in your organization, and then they can use it on mobile application, mobile phone, or on website or browser or tablet. So this is it for today's video, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel, and I'll put all these functions in the description box that you have for your ease to access these functions, and don't waste, you don't have to waste much of your time writing and figuring out how to do that, right? So thanks so much for watching this video. We'll see you soon with another simple project on Power Apps. Thanks so much. Work on how to make sure that you get the people from your property or from your organization in the assigned to tab, and then we'll also create a home screen, and then you can just deploy the application by going publish, and the moment you do that, it will be available for you to share it with other people. Alright, so let's see how you can work for this assigned to. For that, we have to go to the data tab, and then go to the add data, and then you will have the option of the connectors, which will have the Microsoft 365 users. So this is the Office 365 users. This will display all the complete list of all the people in your organization. So the moment you start typing the name of that person, it will be displayed in this tab. Right. So now this connection is ready, and then we have to go back and then make some changes in the item property. So right now it is showing that the choices from here, but now we will make the choices to the Office 365, which will give you the option to select people from your organizations. Right. So as I told you that in the items field, we have to change some properties. So first of all, I will just select this field and go to the properties tab. And if I just go and go to the field section and go to the edit, you will see there an option add field. So if I go to the analyze show, select display name, it will display the name of that individual which you are trying to add here, just like that. So I have only one person, two person in my SharePoint site, so it will display the name of that individual here, right? So if you have multiple people in your organization, so you might want to show all those people in the drop down when you're trying to add people in the assigned to. So for that, you have to make some changes here in the assigned to field. Just select the field and go to the items property, and then change it. And so we'll change it to Office 365 users, Office 365 users dot search users. Then you have the option of V2. Select V2 option, and then open parentheses, open curly parentheses, and then go to the search term, and then search term will be self dot search dot text, which means that when you're typing the search or the text in the field, it will start taking that as a reference, right? Is search term required, and it will be true, false. And the next will add how many people you want to display. If you have multiple people, like you can add maximum 999, or you can keep it 100. So that's up to you. And then we'll close all the parentheses, and then dot value. So this will be the schema or the function which we're going to use here, and this will help you to display all the people in your organization when you're using a modern picker. So now you see it has displayed all the people in my organization or my SharePoint site or the Office 365. So now you can select anybody from your list, and if you start typing, it will display that individual display name in the assigned to column or assigned to field, right? So let's go back and make some more changes in the default selected property of the field. So if you go to this option, you will see there is this option called default selected item. So by default, it will show you the parent dot default. You have to change it to make it as per the accepted schema in the SharePoint. And that will be similar to what we have added in the items property of this field. So let's make that change here. So first of all, we will start with the same Office 365 users, right? Office 365 users V2, and then we will open the parentheses, curly parentheses, and then we will add search term, the similar thing which we did done, and then we will add the value which is already being assigned to this field. So this will be this item dot assigned to. And then we'll add the email ID, which is the unique for each individual. And by default, it will display the top one, but still we'll add a top one. And then we will close all the parentheses here, the curly and the number one, and then the value. So this will be our what we call the schema here, which we're going to use. Right. So now once we've done that, it will be ready for us to start using this Power App. So when you open it, go to the new tab and the new form will be displayed. So I will select this and it is ready for us to test it, right? So now this is how it is going to work. So now you see in the previous, in the earlier section of the video, I added the number value of the assigned to individual, but now it will display the name of that individual which we have selected, right? So this is how the assigned to field works in Power Apps when you're using the modern Power App form controls specifically. So this is the layout which we have just created here. And if you want to create automatic emails to the individuals to whom you have assigned the issues, you can go to the Power Automate and create a flow, a very simple flow, which I will just show you in the next part or the next video of this series. So by now we will just make some changes here. First of all, I just make the change here. I make its screen name as assign issues, right? All right, and then if you want to add a home screen, that's up to you. You can create a home screen if you have multiple apps or you want to create multiple views for your, you call the application. You can do so in that same form. The screen one, you can delete it, right click and delete it, and you can create a new screen which will be the navigation. So we will not create that in today's video. So this is how you can make a very simple and easy to use Power App, which is can be deployed in a Power App environment and can be shared with your teams. So now once your the application is ready, you can also make more changes here, such as if you don't want to show this icon here, you can go to the properties tab and then simply just turn off all those features which you don't want. If you don't want to display the title, you can turn it off. If you want to display, use it as you want. If you don't want to show the logo, just